All right, everyone, we should be live. However, give me a minute to make sure that's actually the case, as usual, with YouTube especially. It's funny how people think that I'm late on every live stream that I do. That's just because I don't set it up with a scheduled time to start, because let's say that you do that with the White House stream. It could be off by an hour, maybe even an hour and a half. It really depends. By the way, Biden late as usual. He was about 45 minutes late to this. This will not be a live reaction, technically. I'll be reacting to the White House stream. However, this was from earlier. I was going to do it live at the time. Then I'm like, well, I need to go to the store. I need to putter around in the garden. I need to do 5 or 6 other things. At some point, it's like, Biden is so boring at certain points that it's not even really a priority. So I will be doing super chats if you're on YouTube. By the way, to the Twitch audience here, I did get invited to become an affiliate because I've got, the metrics for that. Just got to figure that shit out. I guess I'll become a partner at some point or, something like that, which is hilarious. I never expected to be competitive on Twitch, but apparently I am. Big Moose, $4.99, first super chat of the day without any comment. Thank you very much. Mad Buzzin', do you think the evacuation was really a plan to bring in Afghan libtoid votes? No, because those people aren't eligible to vote. Silver Kestrel, Fallout 4 Let's Play when? I would like to do that with heavy modding, of course, but I think that I'll wait until the next Elder Scrolls title is out and or the next Fallout 5. I will be probably doing that streaming. At this point, Fallout 4 is years old. So, even with mods, which make it stand up to the test of time a lot better, it's like, it's kind of passé. Shadesbear, do you think Biden is just the deep state whipping boy for the collapse of America? America's not collapsing. What is neoliberal globalism. Kevin Murphy, you and Salty Cracker are the tits. Congratulations on being next level. And oh yeah, thank you very much. Big Moose, was it confirmed that Israel spied on the White House and on American citizens? I think everyone does that. That's not even really a question. We'll be going, because this is not live, I will be turning Biden on in a couple of minutes here. Take a few super chats first, and then we'll do that. Brando Commando, why don't you invite people like your brother from another mother, Razorfist, H.A. Goodman, or others on your Biden Saki reaction streams? I like to do this myself. At some point, I should probably have a co-host. I'd like to have a little radio show sort of thing going on, sort of like an old-time radio, 80s and 90s era. That sort of thing appeals to me, having a show like that. But right now, I don't have the setup in order to do that. I can't do that from here with a fucking Brio as the audio input. Dr. Zeodin, sticks 10.5 inches. Yes, I guess the new meme is it's not 10.2 anymore, it's 10.5. Nick Ray, do you think conservatives are being pathetic by demanding Biden resign or be impeached due to Kamala potentially taking over if such action took place? Keep up the good work, sir. I think it's pathetic to try to get him to get impeached. Here's the problem. The Democrats did that to Trump. It backfired. It always does. If you don't have the votes, don't impeach. It's as simple as that. For once, McConnell actually... as unusual, as I pointed out, doing something right, shelving that idea. Mr. Wonderful, Sticks look into Streamlabs, does the same job as Super Chats, but they don't take 40% cut YouTube does. Yeah, I've looked into them, but they require a bunch of encryption codes and stream codes and bullshit like that. OBS might be the alternative. Otis Bontrager, short fat otaku turned me onto your content about 2 years ago. I watch more of your stuff than his. Keep up the good work, man. Much more work to be done. I just figured out actually today, this is regarding my literature. I figured out a little bit of a trick that will streamline that and make it about 20-30% faster to edit the books that I'm editing. So I'm extremely happy. I went through and I formatted 7 new works today. Formatting is you plop the material in, you do the title page, the forward, and so forth. You do that beforehand, but everything else gets put in, formatted, and then it's ready to edit line by line. But I figured out a trick that will let me do that considerably faster. Matthew Hammond, if you become a Twitch partner, you cannot have the stream going somewhere else. You could use it for gaming once partnered. Yeah, maybe I'll skip the affiliate thing. Maybe I'll just wait until I get a partnership or whatever. Pale Rider 66, hello from Philadelphia. I pity you. The Everyday Witch, I do not have anything witty to say. I just want to give you money. Enjoy. That's a couple of Red Bulls. It works for me. Nickel Dime, some people, same people who claim Bitcoin would fund terrorists somehow supplied the Taliban with 85 billion in Blackhawks, Humvees, and stacks of US dollars. Yeah, I do find that a little bit strange. They're very afraid of the Taliban getting money unless it's Biden that's giving it to them. Maddie Brown, I look forward to your content every day. Don't worry, hardly a day goes by that there won't be content, unless I'm on like a steamship or something. Let's see. ETNM, would you be open to collab with Ramsey Paul again? Yeah, of course. I like the dude. All right, we're going to go live with Biden here. Got to a few super chats. This is mainly just to ridicule him. This is an unlisted link. So the link that I shared out cross-platform, you can go to it and you can watch this. But for some reason, it is unlisted. I'm not sure why. And my assumption is that they're taking this, they're editing it down, probably to remove the 49 minutes that he was absent at the beginning to put it up like as a one-off upload. But we're going to be using this one. Portland Groiper, hello, Sticks. Well, hello there. Big Moose, thoughts on Israel and Palestine? Not many thoughts because that's their problem. No Israeli or Palestinian has any bearing on the diplomatic future of the United States in the interior sense. So I just say arm all American citizens, lower the tax rate, leave each other alone, jury nullification now and forever. And yeah, who gives a shit what happens overseas? All right, we're going to go live with Biden here. We're going to be listening to his paltry bullshit, his defense of the abysmal jobs report, which is what it is. Joe Cool, run for governor of Vermont, make Vermont clank again. I got 16 votes by making one YouTube video. That should give you an indicator of how popular Phil Scott is. Garhent, any chance of a collab with Sesame Street? Let's red pill the 2-year-olds. That'd be funny. I could have one of the little puppets and, do the thing. I'd be the evil Elmo. It'd be like the Stern equivalent, Evil Dave unfortunately, he died years ago. You remember Evil Dave from the Howard Stern show? And he sounded exactly like Dave Letterman, and they'd have him on there to say weird shit. I could do that with Elmo. Jonathan N. Some people in line with Trump's isolationist agenda were happy with Biden's Afghan withdrawal. Net positive or negative? Neither. What it is just people didn't understand that the withdrawal itself is great. It's the botched nature of the withdrawal that was the problem. Treasure Troller, I can't hear Biden over all the clanking. I know. I mean, they've got ratioed. We won't get ratioed. Big Moose, thoughts on Onizian? Did you ever watch him? I do know of him. From what I can gather from watching, in a tacit sense, the bullshit that happened over the last couple of years, my question is this, and this is not a defense of Onizian, who seems to be a weird individual, not the sort of person that I would watch. Can I ask why it is that Chris Hansen wasn't banned by YouTube for harassment and for real-world potential harm for showing up at his house and stalking him? Like the grifter he is, which is true. I mean, he got caught for tax evasion, decided to become a YouTuber, and basically his YouTube is just defamation. In the legal sense, it's defamation. Onizian is still, out and in the wild. He hasn't been arrested. He hasn't been convicted of any crime. I don't think he's even been booked on anything. Why the fuck is Chris Hansen allowed to do that shit? His show, by the way, To Catch a Predator, back in the day, freed more pedophiles than it jailed. Because when the police showed up, it was entrapment. And so why the hell should I take that seriously? And it seems like the people that are attacking him are all doing it in bad faith. They're basically picking at the cadaver that used to be Onizian's career because, he's a relic at this point. And they're trying to get their 15 minutes of shame. The Smoking Patriot, glad I get to catch your stream. Don't always agree with you, but you're a free thinker, which I greatly appreciate. Thank you very much. Aaron, what's your response to people calling you a grifter because you left America? I would say if they think it's because of COVID, I left months before the epidemic broke out. It's now endemic, so there's no pandemic bullshit anymore. I don't understand how you would become a grifter by going to another country. Is that did I raise money did I raise money to get the plane ticket to come to the Netherlands? That's what a grifter would do. The Pounder, cursed Elmo cameos. Yeah, that'd be funny as fuck. EpicMan004, when's the next live stream raid? I have to admit, the time we raided that random German live stream 3 months ago, I laughed so hard at the confusion. Yeah, I love that shit, but people on Twitter, send me Twitter DMs to channels that I can subscribe to that regularly at around this time of day have live feeds, number one, and their chat is open, number two. I don't care if there's slow mode or something, preferably unmoderated. We'll have some goddamn fun. Mark Peterson, what happened to Matt Lauer? I don't know. Heard of him. Couldn't say what he's famous for. Garhant, Serpentin's Chinese state media has just released a document that states the USA is engaging in biological warfare and other transgressions against CCP. Yeah, they've been claiming that the US invented COVID, which is horseshit. It came from the Wuhan virology lab. They're just deflecting. Revex, where is Kamala Harris? In the bunker. Big Moose, didn't Hansen use the victims to entice the predator? Yes, he's famous for that shit. Aaron Nelson, $5. No comment, thank you. Okay, we're going to get to Biden now. Enough super chats for the moment. Oh, this is going to be ridicule-filled.
Good morning.
By the way, 5,000 people watched their actual stream, like not even just live, but watched in general. There's almost 2,000 people watching this at the moment live. And this isn't even a live reaction at the moment.
So I'm a few minutes late. We're
oh yeah.
Getting ready.
By the way, a few minutes late is 49 minutes, according to Biden. And keep in mind, he's more punctual than Psaki.
Head down to Louisiana.
I can't wait for this.
Had a few things I had to do. Look, as we head into Labor Day weekend, we have more evidence of the progress of our economy from last year's economic calamity. Today, we learned the economy created 235,000 new jobs in August, and the unemployment rate fell to 5.2%, the lowest it has been in 18 months. But despite the impact of the Delta variant, and I'll talk a little more about that in a minute, what we're seeing is an economic recovery that's durable and strong.
See, that's not what you're seeing. And he'll get into this, I'm presuming. But the jobs report was initially slated to have 700,000+ new jobs, and it only generated about 250,000. That sounds like a lot until you realize how many people are born in the United States per month. And then it doesn't seem so significant.
The Biden plan is working. We're getting results.
Yeah.
America is on the move again. And today's revision of previous month's job gains, with the revision of the July numbers, this report means that we have been adding an average of 750,000 jobs per month on average during the past 3 months.
Okay, see, that's misleading because that includes the current month, which came in well below expectations. And there's no reason specifically to believe that the next month will be better. So, yeah, I mean, oh, I made $1 million this year. Okay, so you made $999,999 in January. And then you made like $1 in February and literally nothing for the next 10 months. Well, where's the trajectory gone? The trajectory is down the shitter. That's the problem. And I'm sure that this will affect consumer confidence if people know that this actually is a thing.
And in the 3 months before I became president, well, we're adding 60,000 jobs a month. Total job creation in the...
That's also misleading. The major job growth, which is really just a COVID rebound, happened literally in the middle of last year while Trump was president still. The last one that was, elected duly, as a result of the furloughs and so forth from COVID, the initial lockdown wearing off. This has nothing to do with job growth. By the way, even with Trump, that had nothing to do with actual new job growth. It had to do with recovery from a glut in jobs because people were laid off, business restrictions. Some people would come into work, some people wouldn't. Full-timers were pushed to part-time, and that's sort of what happened. That's still happening now, but Biden, he's up in cloud nine. He doesn't understand economics like Trump did, and so he's not willing to talk about that. Cheese, play the Joe Biden video where he talks about working for Strom Thurmond. During his eulogy of Strom, he looks up saying, "Strom, I know you're up there." Yeah, no, I think he's down below. Chiqui Dogemeyer, opinion on all these people on Twitter nonstop pontificating about the military dogs. I feel like it's just the usual Republicans pearl clutching. I think that it matters that military-trained dogs were left behind. You know, you can say maybe more or less as people. I don't know. I think the animals are worth more than some people in the world. So,
the first 7 months of my administration is nearly double any prior first-year president. While I know some wanted to see a larger number today, and so did I, what we've seen this year is a continued growth, month after month, in job creation. It's not just that I've added more jobs than any first-year president, in the first year of any president. It's that we've added jobs in every single one of my first 7 job reports, and wages.
That would be like saying, hey, in the last year of the last administration, everyone was getting raped. Well, you know, there's a baby boom, and this is I get to take credit for the fact that all these babies are being born. That's what this boils down to. Dr. Zeodin, I'm a bit tipsy right now. Great German beer. However, is he slurring his words? Greetings from Grafenwohr Tower Barracks, Germany. German beer always tastes like a gym sweat. I've had multiple German beers before, and I don't know what the fuck the Germans do to their beer, but it always has this weird acrid taste to it that I've never encountered, I think, in a beer from any other country, and I don't know why. I guess they love suffering. This would explain the world wars. Maddie Brown, in Washington State, first responders, doctors, nurses, state workers are all being fired that don't take the jab. Yeah, remember, these people were heroes before. Now they're not so heroic if they don't do what they're told, right?
They're going up. Some more jobs, some months are fewer, some months more, but always adding jobs. This is the kind.
Yeah, but I mean, if you add 10 jobs, but you add 11 people, then that doesn't help. But Biden won't tell this to his brain-dead lemming dumbass fans. They don't understand these things. If they understood economics, they wouldn't be a Biden fan, so it's kind of pointless. Leroy Mara, new Iron Maiden album out today. Oh, they're still making music? They probably shouldn't at this point.
Kind of growth that makes our economy stronger and consistent progress and not boom or bust. Our economy grew the first half of this year at the fastest rate in about 40 years.
That's also a lie. Technically, if you're using the growth metrics that Biden is alluding to, the economy grew fastest in 100 years around May or June when Trump was president. But that's just the rebound from a bunch of lockdownerism. But he's going to take credit for it. He's going to claim that the jobs report's great, even though it was 500,000 jobs under the estimated.
We're the only developed country in the world. I'll say that again. We're the only developed country in the world whose economy is now bigger than it was before the pandemic, because of the groundwork we laid with the American Rescue Plan.
See, here's another problem. The United States also has significant inflation right now. Talking about wages or economic growth, okay, you're measuring it in terms of dollars that are worth considerably less. Whereas if a nation didn't do the lockdown thing, didn't inflate its currency, went about as normal, like Sweden or something, okay, its economy only grew in a tiny amount like it had before, but the purchasing power is the same. Well, which would you rather be in? A country where, you know, you've made 0.5% more, but you can purchase 0.5% more product, or a nation where you make 10% more, but because of inflation, you can actually buy half as much, and it'll be the same exact amount.
Our vaccination strategy, we're seeing an economy and a job market that can weather the ups and downs of the Delta variant and anything else that comes our way.
By Taeon J. Cox, can you consider making an occult video on your thoughts on philosophical Luciferianism and your thoughts on its interpretation of the human odyssey? I've covered Luciferianism before, actually. I don't know whether you mean in the Enlightenment sense, the atheistic, Satanistic sense, or the more abstract, symbolic sense. But I think I've talked about all three actually before.
And we have a lot more work to do, as I will discuss shortly. But the facts speak for themselves. Think of where this country stood on the day I was sworn in as president and compare it to where we are today. The number of people filing new claims for unemployment each week is down 57%, down 57%. Child poverty.
I love how he always repeats himself because the teleprompter tells him to, in order to try to get, 10% of the people that are already yawning, watching him blather on, to remember what the fuck he's saying.
Is down nearly 50%. We're no longer seeing long lines of people waiting for boxes of food to be put in their trunk after waiting for hours, or sometimes.
Didn't Facebook start warning people about following pages that had to do with prepping too much? Like there was and I don't know if this is a meme or not, maybe someone can tell me. Wasn't there a page that was about home canning, and people were getting warnings about extremism if they followed it and interacted with the material? I mean, this could be a meme, but the thing is, I wouldn't be surprised. It should be just a meme. It should be sort of like when people years ago would talk about Tumblr leftists, and they'd say, well, their pronoun is helicopter or something. It was considered a joke. The idea was it was hyperbole, but the hyperbole became real. My hope is that this is also an instance of bullshit. This is just a joke, but unfortunately, I don't know if I believe it.
Up to 2 hours. The unemployment rate is down from 6.3% to 5.2%, and I believe it's going to continue to go down. And it's no wonder that last week's Gallup poll found that 72% of Americans.
Alexandra, who's worse when it comes to slurring like a drunk? Pedo Joe or Nasty Nancy? Nancy Pelosi, because Joe Biden, he doesn't need anything to cause that to happen. He just has another aneurysm or whatever, another mini stroke. Nancy Pelosi actually gets hammered, like otherwise she seems to be kind of with it. Emily C., do you think they tell Biden that he is doing a great job and he just doesn't really know any better? Or does he know he's doing a terrible job? It's hard to tell. I think that they give him the polls and stuff and he just doesn't know how to interpret the numbers.
Think that now is a good time to find a quality job. At this time last year, that number was 30%. And that's the mark of an economy where regular people can see a place for themselves in the economy. You know, the holidays we celebrate this weekend, the holiday Labor Day, is about honoring the
Overkill 161. I can't send a super sticker. Here's a poop emoji. Now, Biden made one in his pants. He's going to eat it later thinking it's ice cream.
The dignity of work, honoring the American worker. And that's what our economic strategy is all about as well. It's about growing our economy from the bottom up and the middle out, providing some extra breathing room for families. And my dad would just say, just a little breathing room.
He always refers to his dad or his son, and never the crack smoking son. It's funny, he's very proud of his son that's still alive. He's a really great kid, but never gets brought up in Biden's speeches. Also, he never talks about his mom. I wonder why.
Creating an environment where employers have to compete for workers by providing higher wages and better benefits. That's what's happening. Wages are up, especially for working class Americans. Even so, even with the...
Again, though, if wages rise marginally, it doesn't matter if the costs rise astronomically. And people are understanding this. Afghanistan is not the only reason why Biden's deep underwater in the polls right now. And that's not the only reason. It might not even be the main reason after a couple of weeks. The public will forget about Afghanistan. But when they look in their wallet and they look at the price sticker at the store, they won't forget about that quite so easily. That's just the manner of the public.
Progress we've made. We're not where we need to be in our economic recovery. There are two critical tasks ahead this month to get us closer to our goal and to take the next steps in our recovery. And the first, we need to make more progress in fighting the Delta variant of COVID-19.
Yeah, we have to fight Delta COVID because, nothing else matters. By default, in regards to Australia, what good is an app if I don't have a smartphone? Moo ha ha ha, Matrix reference. Yeah, that's funny. Australia is now under fascism. but I'm assuming that there's some like other app that people can get that'll cover it up. And if not, you know, you can just take pictures of your shit in the toilet or something, or take a picture of yourself like where you're supposed to be according to the Australian police, and just fucking upload it when they text you, I guess. You know, so who gives a shit? It doesn't really matter. Fascism is always stupid. Commies are always stupid. The Australian government's run by communists.
This is a continuing pandemic of the unvaccinated. Since becoming
Brett
president,
Guerrero, what is your opinion on pet parrots?
Secured enough vaccine for
I don't think that birds should be kept as pets. It's cruel to keep them in a cage. Let them go free if they're capable of surviving on their own.
Single American.
If not, you know,
and gotten 175
chicken nuggets.
million Americans fully vaccinated. Still too many.
There's metadata in the pictures that prevents this. Metadata can be manipulated. Like they have time to fucking check all that shit for a population of millions of people that they're texting. I ain't gonna check shit. Just send them a picture of your shit in the toilet. That's my advice. Volk Nasty, did you know that you could feed a starving African child for a month with this money? Yeah, supposedly. Televangelists will tell you so, and they'll beg you to send the money to them. Unfortunately, they only give like 2 cents of that to the African child. Then they say, hey, here's a bag of banana chips. Yeah, this is to get you through the next week. So fucking make some more goofy faces, kids, so that we can get some more money. By the way, no, I am not vaccinated against COVID, nor do I intend to bother seeking it for my own various reasons. I can't be bothered. Who gives a shit?
Have not gotten vaccinated. And it's creating a lot of unease in our economy and around our kitchen tables.
No, the thing that's creating unease is the fascists. They're the only ones exploiting the situation for their own personal gain. The China virus that came from the Wuhan lab. Something that Biden hasn't talked about in many, many months, by the way.
The report shows that the steps we've taken, passing the rescue plan and vaccinating 175 million people, make our economy capable of growing and adding jobs, even in the face of this continuing Delta surge. Strengthen our economy.
And when Delta goes away, there will be another surge. What the fuck does this have to do with the August jobs report? That's what this is listed as. Well, I mean, it's an unlisted video, but that's what the title is. I don't want to hear about that shit. Why do they bring up COVID? And President Biden delivers address on Afghanistan. By the way, we've vaccinated another 800,000 people. Jobs report. Oh, by the way, people need to get vaccinated. What the fuck are you talking about, dude? Keep to the program. Tell people about, you know, what they actually are tuning in to hear. Everyone's watching you online. Nobody gives a shit about cable news unless they're one of your core fans, one of the soccer mom Democrats anyway. They don't care what you say. As far as everyone else is concerned, if you're online and shit, stick to the program. But he can't do that because, I mean, he's Biden. He's got to read the speech, and the people around him that write his speeches are morbid morons.
Very different from the way things were last winter. There's no question the Delta variant is why today's job report isn't stronger.
There's plenty of doubt, Joe. It's not the Delta variant, it's fascism. The virus didn't destroy any jobs unless it killed somebody. Well, that's a fairly small pool of people. Now, what killed the jobs is the reaction to the virus being frenetic and paranoid. Will Gooding, Sticks, do you believe abortion should be taxpayer funded? And if so, would it only be for certain circumstances or for all circumstances? I believe that while abortion should be safe and legal, it does not need to be taxpayer funded. There are plenty of private groups that are capable of funding it. It's not that expensive. As far as early term, literally abortifacients are a pill. That can be taxpayer funded because it'd be like pennies on the dollar. As far as the actual surgical procedure, it doesn't need to be taxpayer funded. And that's a boogeyman that's trotted out by the leftoids usually. Donnie Gebert, 4Stacks, love your channel. Free book on decentralized legislatures, the null hypothesis of politics.com. Interesting. New York BSFP, Sticks, go watch Maiden's new video, The Writing on the Wall. If you legit don't like it, I'll send another $50 next time. Check it out. Cis White Meme, will there be a new cockdown or lockdown? In the US, not likely. Peyton Walter, by the way, $100. Thank you very much. Watch your show every day. Keep up the good work. By the way, I hear something. I smell something burning, so please give me a minute here. I'm hoping that's not from this house. That's not burning. Yeah, just give me a moment, everyone, because I think I smell something burning. It's probably the neighbor. Okay, no problems. It's the neighbor's cooking dinner, I guess. It's not from our oven. Yeah, it's not from our Dutch oven. Yeah, they've burned some sort of dinner that they're cooking at the moment. Either that or they're barbecuing poorly, which is possible.
I know people were looking, and I was hoping for a higher number. But next week, I'll lay out the next steps that we're going to need to combat the Delta variant, to address some of those fears and concerns. I want to talk about—
We're going to do the COVID passport thing. That'll really, that'll calm people. It'll ease their nerves.
about how we'll further protect our schools, our businesses.
Our schools. By the way, he is definitely slurring. This is the third time that I've mentioned this, but he is absolutely slurring his words much more than he was even a couple of weeks ago. That's beyond a shadow of the doubt at this point. I realize he's on the trail right now. He's gone down to like Louisiana, then back up to Delaware or something. But this is like 3 times running that he's done addresses, and he can't even pronounce words. Stephen, hey Sticks, been hearing Texas passing the abortion bill as a play to stop the flow of Californians or liberals in general. Think there's any truth to this? I don't think that's part of the strategy, but it is an unintended consequence. And insofar as that happens, well, no. I guess we got to celebrate Texans for their strategery. The Peanut Gallery, it was Joe Biden's career. Yeah, that's what I smelled. Courier Afra, I discovered you from Medicare's video about Rage After Storm, and now you've become part of the morning where I put my kids down for a nap. Stay awesome. Why aren't your kids watching Sticks, Axe, and Hammer? It'll give them a good education and shit. Wait till I get back into garden videos, then that might actually happen. Norn Iron John, smell burnt toast. You're having a stroke, Sticks. No, it doesn't smell like that. It smells like burning like a tomato, actually, more than anything else. There are a lot of people that barbecue here, especially this time of day. It's like, you know, and it's a Friday, so people are getting off of work. But somebody, I think, kept it on a little bit too long. Filipino white boy, you and Razor have different opinions when it comes to abortion and pot legalization. I'd love to hear you two debate because you both make a good point. He's anti-legalization of pot. I didn't know that. Bear Business One, Sticks is doing a Hassan stream, just the chair, clank on. Howard Work, unrelated, the Amazon Web Service Terms of Service has a section 4210 about zombie outbreaks. Yeah, I did see that. I'm assuming that's just a joke. You know, cover your ass. Exploilist, if Vermont's gun control policy used to be so great, where did everything go wrong? That was with Phil Scott, the current governor, selling out and adopting Sue Minter gun control light, which came from literally Michael Bloomberg. Back to Biden.
And our families from the threat of Delta. As we continue to fight the Delta variant, the American Rescue Plan we passed continues to support families, businesses, and communities.
Lunatic HD.
Even some of the benefits.
How many blues we at? Enjoy the Red Bull on me. We're at about 11 BLUs, Biden loser units.
That were provided are set to expire next week. States have the option to extend those benefits and the federal resources from the rescue plan to do so. That not more federal taxes, state taxes.
Oh, come on, man.
They have the federal money to be able to do that. States continue to have access to a wide array of support, like Help for Schools that are reopening, Help for Child Care Centers to make them available and affordable, and other resources to help our economy get back to normal. The measures we've taken so far have brought America out of an economic freefall, steadied us, and enabled—
The funny thing is the recovery mainly happened under Trump. By the end of Trump's presidency, asterisk administration then begins, unemployment had already fallen by a significant margin, job growth was up, and everything was going fine. Biden is the one that's fucked it up. And with the inflation, my goodness, all of the actual progress has been reversed.
Enable us to grow our economy even as we continue to combat COVID. We are adding jobs, not losing them. The fight against COVID today is far different from the fight we were waging last winter.
Yeah, it's far worse. Now we have to fight the fascists. Metalhead 10,000 watched your live stream yesterday and thought it was just stupid how many people were hung up over your stance on abortion. I don't agree with you on it either, but I just don't care anymore. It got annoying yesterday. I didn't get annoyed because, I've sparred with people for years and years. I'm pro-choice. I'm unabashed about that fact. And if people don't like that, that's okay. They can, opine as much as they want. Unlike some thin-skinned people like the amazing atheist, I don't ban people from my YouTube chat for having a difference of opinion or even for spamming, mainly because I'm too busy doing my own thing and ridiculing what Biden says. Big Brother Media Machine, do you think Biden or someone else had his first wife snuffed out? I don't believe anything happens by chance in politics. Possible. Look at Ted Kennedy and his girlfriend.
The second thing that has to happen in September is for the Congress, the House and Senate, to finish the job of passing my economic agenda.
See, his agenda is on hold right now because Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema are standing in the way and putting it on pause. It's funny, the Democrats are the ones doing that. It's not the evil far-right Republicans. Nigel Farage, WAP. Biden is a complete embarrassment for the USA and 100 years from now will likely be considered the worst president in our history. Recency bias. I doubt he'll be considered the worst, but he'll definitely be in the bottom quarter, probably the bottom fifth. Ingsnod, I think he's bringing all this COVID stuff just to avoid the fact that his admin is the sole reason for the poor state of the economy, and also to not talk about Afghanistan. I'll be surprised if he takes any comments or questions at the end of this. Stephanie Littlepage, your cats are smarter than Biden. Yes, they are very intelligent cats. Biden's not stupid, he's just demented. Steve Aoki is Chinese spy. Paracelsus Underach, to the Biden regime, inflation is growth.
So we can keep up
exactly
the historic momentum we've been building these last 7 months. It's about investing in America's future.
I'm going to let him play through and not read any more super chats. I'm just going to ridicule at this point.
These are long-term prosperity we're talking about lowering the cost of living for families, creating millions of good-paying jobs.
Does inflation lower the cost of living? Everyone ask themselves that question.
For hardworking Americans. It's about reducing bottlenecks in our economy, reducing long-term price pressures. It's about helping more people to work by helping ease the burden that parents bear, especially mothers, keeping them out of the job market. Both the Senate and the House have taken important steps forward to pass my bipartisan infrastructure plan.
That's actually, again, several Democrats are the ones that are holding it up at the moment. And they're doing that, I said this morning, because Biden's approval has fallen so drastically that let's say that you're Joe Manchin, you represent West Virginia, your constituents are largely Republican. You've been voted into office not by a bunch of partisan Democrats, but by a mixed coalition. Do you want to alienate half of the people that voted for you by standing with someone who's proposing $3.5 trillion and shovel-ready 2.0? I hope that this torpedoes his fucking infrastructure bill and it never gets passed.
This bill is going to end years of gridlock.
No, it won't.
We used to remember we always had, the whole notion we had, I guess, was every week was going to be infrastructure week. Well, both literally and figuratively, it's going to change things on our streets across the country and figuratively as it relates to Washington. We're going to create millions of good paying jobs. We're going to ease inflationary pressure. Allow us to win the competition.
We're going to ease inflation, man. We're going to stop the inflation. No, you're not. You're the one that caused it with your initial stimulus, and you're proposing $3.5 trillion of additional spending. That's going to ease inflation.
To the 21st century in a global economy where the competition has become more intense. Look, it's historic.
I love it when he says look before he says something, you know that it will not be profound.
Investment in roads and rail, in transit and bridges, in clean energy, in clean water, universal broadband.
Sounds like shovel ready.
Energy grid. You need not go any further than look what.
Isn't this exactly what we were told with shovel ready under Obama around the late 2000s? And it didn't pan out. Now, who do you trust more to actually implement such a plan? Obama, who at the very least wasn't demented, could make a goddamn decision, or Joe Biden? This is why I know that it's going to be a free-for-all of money-grubbing horse shit, and most of that money will be squandered. We'll never see a return. We're just going to see more inflation and more bullshit.
It's happening across the country now in terms of the energy. It's about resilience. Make our roads and highways safer. Make us more resilient to the kinds of devastating impacts from extreme weather.
Let me ask, what the fuck is Biden proposing that's going to make a single highway safer? Are you going to buttress them up with granite or something? We're going to raise them up 5 more feet, buttress them with granite. We're going to have wrought iron poles on the side, because those old aluminum ones, they don't work so well, the aluminum curbs. And we're going to make them look like something medieval. That's not going to happen. They're just talking about building a new infrastructure that'll be the same as the old infrastructure, require more maintenance, and often it'll be a bridge to nowhere situation or another Solyndra.
We're seeing in so many parts of the country. And look, this is about good paying jobs, ordinary people, blue-collar workers.
Blue-collar workers, unlike me and my family. Hunter Biden gets $75,000 to shit on a canvas and sell it to Chinese investors. You are beneath me. Fuck yourself. I don't care about you. See, that would be an honest Biden speech.
Jobs at prevailing wage, not $15 an hour for 20 or 30, but for the carpenters and pipe fitters, plumbers, electrical workers, and so many other Americans.
Now, a lot of people who are like plumbers and electricians make about $30 an hour. That's not a bad wage. Shit, $30 an hour is now low wage? What the fuck are you talking about, dude? That's pretty decent, actually, if you're working, a 35, 40-hour week, especially if you're self-employed. If you're doing like contracting or selling, you work on your own schedule. $30 an hour is not bad. I remember one time I was actually looking at a job, and I probably could have gotten it. This was right before my breakout on YouTube. This is an offside story, so this isn't Biden or anything. Right before I decided to double down on my editing, my YouTubing and stuff, which was the right decision to make. I'm glad that I did. I actually had applied for a job. It started at $18 an hour, actually, to work in an architectural office as an assistant. Now, I took 4 years of architectural drawing in high school. I'm qualified for that job, and I did definitely think about it. Decided not to, because literally within a couple of weeks, I began my breakout on YouTube. Even $18 an hour is, it's a livable wage. It is. Unless you want to eat filet mignon every single night. $30 an hour is good. I would have pissed my pants if someone had offered me $30 an hour back in the day. Even now with inflation, $30 an hour, you can live on that. That's not bad. The fuck's he talking about? How many? Yeah, a starting plumber. You start out in plumbing, you make like $50 an hour. That's what Joe Biden thinks, apparently. See, this just goes to show he doesn't know anything about economics. He doesn't, on the ground, he doesn't even know what it's like to be working class or even like lower middle class. He's rich. He's worth millions of dollars. His son can sell a goddamn piece of canvas with his spit and shit on it for $75,000. I'm surprised that Hunter Biden hasn't gotten in on the NPT thing. Will Gooding sticks this $20 as either kiddie food, Cardano, or more spoons for clanking, but not all three. Just kidding. Spend it on whatever it is the fuck you want. You deserve it. Probably kiddie food. They take precedence. Why do you think so many people are watching the stream? It's not for me or Biden. It's for the cat back there. Sacred assault. This infrastructure bill is so unnecessary, charging annually per mile driven. So ridiculous. Yeah, they've been wanting that for years. Nigel Farage whopped. Biden's approval rating may be low in the U.S., but it is sure high among the Taliban and ISIS. That's true.
About 90%.
We'll continue with Beijing Biden here. Little Joey.
Require a college degree, but will fundamentally transform the lives of millions of people. It's going to transform America and propel us into the future, just as we did when we built the Transcontinental Railroad, when we electrified the country, the TVA.
Biden pledges to build more steam trains.
Look, at the same time, the House and Senate have to advance my Build Back Better agenda.
No, they don't.
That bill contains critical investments in child care to make it easier for families to be able to go to work. and assure their child is being taken care of. And home care for seniors, the polling data shows among your generation, all of you out here, your greatest concern is caring for your elderly parent, even more than your child.
Well, don't worry, we got a solution for your elderly parent. It's called we're going to kill them. That's efficiency, the Chinese way. I'm almost thinking that COVID was designed by China as a literal boomer remover because of their demographic crisis.
It's about paid leave, allowing people with a new child or a sick spouse at home to take care of them without risking losing their paycheck. Not indefinitely, but for a time period they can actually make a difference. Universal pre-K and community college, making us significantly better educated and increasing our competitive edge globally, around the world, over time.
Education. Biden he doesn't even know basic history. Certainly doesn't know anything about civics. The federal government could do nothing better for the U.S. education system than to take its hands off of it and repeal virtually all of its involvement other than funding. The states and localities should handle that.
Time. And we'll combat climate change by building our clean energy future, creating, the experts point out, millions of jobs and building windmills and solar.
I think I heard this before. Let's see. What year was it? It was like 2010 or something, and Obama was pitching the shovel-ready jobs. Oh, that I already mentioned. You see, much like the Green New Deal, it is the same thing. It's a corporate power grab, a corporate cash grab for a bunch of grantees and government pet projects that literally won't go anywhere. Yeah, a couple years from now, you heard it first from me years in advance. A couple years from now, most of those jobs will be gone. Most of those projects will be bankrupt, and most of those companies will either not exist or will be being sued by the federal government for some sort of misuse of funds, just like under Shovel Ready.
Solar panels all around the country and transferring that energy, transmitting it to parts that don't have that capacity. We're going to bring down the cost of prescription drugs by allowing Medicare to finally be able to negotiate drug prices with producers.
See, the funny thing is there was an effort to lower the price of certain life-saving drugs like insulin and EpiPens as well under Trump. Oh, but Biden decided to put a moratorium on that decision upon further consideration. By the way, I never really got an update on what happened with that. I think that that's probably an indicator of which way that it went.
Look, and so much more. Here's the thing you need to know. We're going to deliver these investments without raising taxes 1 cent.
Bull fucking goddamn horse shit. No, taxes will go up in one of two ways. They'll either rise or they'll rise. If they rise, it's because Congress raised the tax rate, signed off on it. In more likelihood, it'll be because of inflation. They'll just print more money. Pierre Lore Phillips. To be fair, at least his wife dresses him quite well. Yeah, you know that Biden doesn't dress himself. By the way, that's one of those medical helicopters, hospital nearby. Paracelsus Underrock. Social Security is now estimated to run out by 2032. People need to learn how to invest or never retire. Well, I never intend to retire. I want to die with my boots on anyway, because that's the good way to go. It's like fuck being lazy and old and all that shit. But Social Security, they'll kick the can down the road. Don't worry. They'll just keep cheapening it and making it more expensive. Mr. Twisted Frenzy, what is your view on the idea of counties seceding from their states and joining their neighboring states? Generally not legal. Nigel Farage Wop, what is with his weird whispering? Lol. He does that at the end of every speech to try to pontificate more effectively. He fails.
Anyone making less than $400,000.
Come on, man. Come on, man. By the way, he literally went back on that lie after the primaries when he was a general candidate. He said that no, that won't apply to everyone. It will only apply to single individuals. But now he's gone back to the lie again. Did you hear that? He's returned to his old lie. He even explained himself about that because he was pressed on it. Now he's gone back to the original lie.
We're going to do that. We're going to do it.
Now, as someone who makes a reasonable amount of money, but nowhere near 400K, I guarantee my taxes will go up. I'm already planning for it. I'm putting aside more money each month because I know that the taxes will go up. I'm not stupid, Biden. I'm not retarded.
By just having a fair system Well, we asked the largest corporations and the wealthiest Americans to begin to pay their fair share, not more.
They're going to ask them nicely, hey, come on, ExxonMobil, can't you pay 12% instead of 11? Come on, man. I need more ice cream here. I'm fucking dying.
They can still make millions of dollars. The super wealthy are still going to be able to have 3 homes. It's not going to affect anything. The fact of the matter is, though, it's about time.
The super wealthy. Fucking Bernie Sanders has 3 homes if you count his lakeside cabin, dude. And he claims he's not super wealthy. He used to rant about the millionaires. Now it's the billionaires' fault.
They begin to pay their fair share. For example,
They do. They pay the fair share that incarnations of Congress that you yourself were part of created for them. You designed the fucking tax code. They're already paying what they owe. This is just like the insurance bullshit from last night's stream with Hurricane Ada. Well, we're going to ask them to please pay out the policies to people they owe. But these people aren't owed. They didn't check the fine print. There was no evacuation order issued. Their policy said if no evacuation order is issued, we're not reimbursing you. And they didn't read the goddamn policy. Biden is just being an asshat when he says these things. He knows it's not actually going to happen. He's grandstanding.
Example, you've heard me say it before, and I'll say it again, but it's the best example to make clear to people a very complicated notion.
I'm going to say it again.
55 of the largest corporations in America last year paid zero in federal taxes.
Now talk about the capital gains that they paid, Joe.
I don't care what your position is. It just seems.
What capital gains did they pay, Joe? What business taxes did they pay, Joe? You're talking about personal income taxes. What else did they pay? Oh, that's right. If you tell people that, then they'll say, oh, I guess the billionaires actually pay into the system. Maybe there's a different problem with the economy. Maybe the government's taking too much money from goddamn everyone.
To me, it's time they start to pay their fair share, like everybody else. Just pay a little bit here. And it comes up to billions of dollars if they pay.
Billions, aka drop in the bucket compared to the extra spending that he is currently proposing to Congress.
The irony of ironies is during the recession and the pandemic.
The irony of ironies is this dude can go anywhere in the world and make $100,000 easily in 10 minutes of work. The irony is that his son made millions of dollars selling bullshit art to the Chinese.
You've heard me say this before.
He won't pay any taxes.
When the vast majority of Americans are struggling just to hang on, the number of billionaires in America actually grew.
That's good. So wealth was generated. The only problem is that because of the government's lockdownerism, it went to a handful of people instead of to more people. Wealth isn't a bad thing. Getting rich is great. Capitalism is wonderful. I love the fact that I'm making a decent amount of money now. It didn't happen because the government gave me a hand up. A bunch of private citizens did, including people outside the US. Other citizens gave me a hand up. They helped me. The government never helped me. All they do is try to steal the money that I am making. Kane Bizarro, hey, how you doing? I'm over here in Queens, New York. Just wondering what you think will happen. Flat dollar at the end of this month. You think the world will dump the dollar back to the USA? No, the dollar will remain a main reserve currency for a very long time. Don't worry about that. Worry about the inflation of the dollar cheapening your wealth. Dollar as a total will still be used. It's just how much it's worth per dollar. Number one to you, you're going to live stream on Rumble. Yes, that's planned for the future.
I want to hold
also Odyssey, ND Live.
There have been so many records the stock market has hit under my presidency. Imagine if the other guy was here. We're doing great. It's wonderful. The stock market is surging. It's gone up higher than me than anybody.
Orange man is bad.
But that doesn't mean that it's the best for the economy. Look, stock market has set 40 record highs just this year. They can afford to pay just a little bit more.
Biden showing that he understands that the average fan of Biden does not understand how stocks work.
But folks, right now, the House and Senate are working on my plan to generate a fair tax system and close loopholes that big corporations and super wealthy use to pay less. To give you one example.
We've been hearing this since the goddamn 1970s, Joe. Give us a goddamn break. We know you're not going to close the loopholes. Come on, dude. Come on,
There's a group of
man.
experts, left, right, and center,
Shove the
who
ice
estimate
cream
that
up your
right now,
anus.
we
Sodomize
lose
yourself
more
with a
than
chocolate chip.
$100 billion a year in tax revenue owed.
I want to see him take the
From
little
the top
strawberry bits out of
1%
his
of
ice cream and
taxpayers
shove
only.
them in his urethra and piss him back
Not
out.
because of low tax rates.
Freeze
but
your
because the wealthy
penis.
people aren't paying the taxes.
It's not doing
owe.
anything else anyway.
We're going to change that
Old lecher.
so that they pay taxes just like typical hardworking Americans do right now.
Put chocolate
We're gonna
ice
use
cream
the
in
money
your
we
ass,
collect from
poop
the
it back
tax cuts
out, and it'll look
to
about the
give tax
same,
cuts
right?
to middle-class families, to
Joey?
make it easier to raise kids, to take care of your aging parents, and so much more. What's going on in Congress?
You can take care of your aging parents like Joe Biden.
Supports this plan. They support the bipartisan plan, but not this plan. Not one.
Come on, man.
And some big corporations are spending millions of dollars in legitimately. I mean,
I love it.
lobbying.
I love it when he tries to pretend to be amused by what he's saying too. He's like pretending to break out laughing. Yeah, the corporations are spending this money. Oh my God. There are people that are taken in by this, by the way. Just to be aware, there are people stupid enough to believe what he's currently saying. We're gonna close the loopholes. I want corporations to pay more. I don't put the ice cream cone up my ass when I'm done and then pretend that my poop is more ice cream so I can eat it again.
To try to escape their obligation to pay the taxes they owe.
Of course you do.
Leaving working families to pay a larger share of the burden. Somebody's got to pay. And when those who can afford to pay aren't paying anywhere near their fair share, it means you all pay more.
I want the government to pay more. The government's got way more money than any corporation. So you need to slash your budget. Put that money towards the other expenses, right, Joe? That's the only fair share that anyone needs to be paid forward.
You know, this has worked in the past with significant lobbying efforts, but I don't think it's going to work with me. For those big corporations that don't want things to change, my message is this. It's time.
My message is this. I'm going to put all your workers out of work and screw the entire working and middle class population relying on your business because fuck you, I'm going to nationalize everything.
For working families, the folks who built this country, to have their taxes cut. And those corporate.
Biden definitely avoids mentioning that the average American in the middle class did have their taxes cut by Donald Trump, including yours truly. I saved thousands of dollars that otherwise would have gone to the Taliban. I'm very, very happy with Trump's tax plan.
Interests doing everything they can to find allies in Congress to keep that from happening. Let me be, as the old expression was, perfectly clear. I'm going to take them on. We're going to pass these measures.
I'm going to take you on a push-up contest.
Up in the middle out, not from the top down. And when corporations and the wealthy start to pay their fair share, it's going to put millions of people, according to all the estimates, millions of people to work in jobs that are going to help them punch their ticket to the middle class and stay in the middle class.
What about those of us who got there? You want to shove our heads back down below water with an onerous tax plan. That's the whole problem.
And everyone will do better, including corporate America. Look.
Yeah, corporate America will do better if we take more money from corporate America and give it to the Taliban.
Just think about it. Throughout our history, when the middle class has done well, when it prospers, has there ever been a time the wealthy?
When's the last time he was inside of his wife, by the way?
I can't think of one. Our country needs these investments. I'm not asking anything other than some fairness being injected into the system.
I give the over-under at 3 years as the last time that Joe Biden had a bowel movement that he didn't have to have someone else wipe. He's like that far gone at this point. His wife's still with it. She knows what she's talking about, you know, as far as teaching and English go anyway. He doesn't even get that.
Hold here. The fact is that, you know, the very wealthy, well, they're still going to have 3 homes or 4 homes if they want. It's not going to change what schools they can send their kids to. It's not going to change their standard of living. But just pay.
No, it won't, because it's not going to change their tax rate, Joe. You're not going to do anything to your donors.
Hey, a fair share.
Just give me more money, please. More money for Joe.
Yes, it's going to cost jobs or cost, I mean, you know.
Hey, Joe, if I buy one of Hunter Biden's pieces of artwork, can I be exempt from taxes?
To come through for the American people.
Like your donors are?
The economy continues to gain strength and stability as we move forward. Now, finally,
I should crowdfund that. I should do a GoFundMe and be like, I want to buy a piece of Hunter Biden's artwork so that Joe will forgive my taxes for the rest of eternity.
third thing we need to do, all of us, is to stick together. We have to put ourselves
We have to stick together unless you're unvaccinated. Then you should be basically a slave.
on track to accomplish extraordinary things. A strong, inclusive, historic economic growth.
Inclusive growth.
Landmark investments to create even more good jobs and deliver breathing room for millions of families.
Liver breathing room. Hunter Biden doesn't have any of that. He's basically a couple of vodka shots away from the hospital, my dude.
Forward in the fight against climate change. The crisis
Oh, boy.
more evident than ever.
The Podsky, Sargon talked about the Texas abortion ban. He thought there used to be a social contract of safe, legal, and rare. But now the left have dropped the idea of rarity. Why shouldn't the right pursue the sanctity of life in return? Well, they can. It's not necessarily a winning issue, and it's not one that I can necessarily stand fully with the right on, because I believe that abortions will happen anyway, and so I'd rather them be safe. And I don't really like the state making medical decisions any more for that than for vaccination, by the way.
By the death and destruction caused by extreme weather just these past few days.
Climate change, pay me money.
I believe is one that every American, if they understand it, can get behind.
Yeah, Joe, I can really get behind you wanting to take more of my money to fritter away on terrorists and stuff like that. Oh, I didn't know that I could click these and they would pop up. Thank you very much. Shit, now it went away. Fuck me in the ass. I don't know what I just did. Apparently, I can get the chats to actually pop up on the screen. You learn something new every day. Here with Boomer Hexenhammer.
This is the work we've all put in, not just here in Washington.
And think I understand tech way more than Joe and his people.
Goals is now
he's the fucking so-called president.
Coming together has always been part of the DNA of Americans. And if we can summon that instinct within us to unite, as one people, one nation, there's nothing beyond our capacity. So let's keep going. Let's stick together. Let's remember
Let's
who we
keep going off that cliff. It looks
say
pretty
time and
cool,
again, we're
doesn't
the
it?
United States of America.
United.
And the rest of the world is looking to us.
No, trust me, Joe. The rest of the world is looking at you and laughing.
We are the most prosperous nation.
No. Liebshin talks. As far as abortion, you're kind of right. But I think that when the left cheer for 9-month abortion and low-key say newborns aren't really alive is why people will be sour to the idea of warranted abortion. Well, I don't believe in aborting people at 9 months. I think it should be done as early as possible. I'm just saying that it will happen anyway. In an overwhelming majority of cases, even under the Texas law, it would be legal. I would challenge people, if you believe life begins at conception, why would you support the Texas law? It allows abortions up to 6 weeks. So then, you're okay with murder as long as it's early enough. Well, then you've just set an arbitrary date for when that murder becomes more unpalatable to you.
World right now, we're growing, and there's a fairness to what we're doing.
Fairness.
We'll still have millionaires. We'll still have billionaires. We'll still have corporations that do incredibly well and CEOs that make a lot of money. But everybody has to start paying their fair share. Thank you very much.
Will he answer any questions?
Texas, sir?
Pardon me?
One question on abortion rights in Texas, sir. What would be your message to women in Texas, and what can your administration do to protect abortion rights on a federal level?
I'm late for going down. I'm going to talk about these things from Louisiana, but I have continue to be a strong supporter of Roe v. Wade.
The pause.
The most pernicious thing about the Texas law.
His staff right now are like, oh no, Joe, please don't, please just walk away from the goddamn podium. I know it looks bad to just turn around and walk away, but please, it's better than the alternative. Please don't do any more 5 to 10 second pauses. Please just walk away.
It sort of creates
someone injured or sick, I guess. Another Delta variant case, maybe.
It's a vigilante system. where people get rewards to go out to, anyway. And it just seems.
The second he goes off the goddamn script, he does this. And this is why they won't let him take goddamn questions. Classic. No wonder this is unlisted. Probably when I refresh it, it'll be gone. They'll have the edited version up. This one will be gone or some shit.
Sounds ridiculous, almost un-American, what we're talking about. Not to debate about. I respect people who think who don't support Roe v. Wade. I respect their views. I respect them. Those who believe life begins at the moment of conception and all. I respect that. Don't agree, but I respect that. I'm not going to impose that on people. But
he thinks life begins when you start paying taxes, just to be clear.
I was told, and I must tell you, I am not certain. I was told that there are possibilities within the existing law to have the Justice Department look and see whether there are things that can be done.
A guy under a bridge, in my opinion, it's alive when the fetus can viably survive outside the uterus. And not like 1%, but when there's like a 30+% chance. It's not a strict timeline. Yeah, nobody has a strict timeline unless they're an at conception or an as you will pro-abortion advocate. For everyone else, which is 99% of us that are more nuanced, really it comes down to an arbitrary judgment. It's completely arbitrary. There are plenty of people congratulating Texas that don't realize that more than half of the abortions will still be performed because they're before 6 weeks. If they believe that life begins at conception, then they're cheering a bill that allows murder in their own mind. I don't believe that, but they certainly do. Joe Biden's dentures, I came, I saw, I clanked.
That can limit the independent action of individuals in enforcing a federal system, a state law. I don't know enough to give you an answer yet. I've asked that to be checked.
I don't know what's
Thank
going on.
Thank you all very much.
On the status of getting Americans out of Afghanistan.
Mr. President, what about booster
President,
shots?
are you moving
What
on
about
from
the confusion
Afghanistan?
about booster shots, sir?
I almost love it, the fact that he'll ignore the legacy media. The funny thing is, if Trump did stuff like that, and sometimes he did, they called him a tyrant. They called him authoritarian and evil. Oh, he doesn't want to answer questions. He hates the press. They never say that about Joe Biden. He's done it twice as much in the first year he's been president as Trump did in 4 years. Isn't that very, very interesting? Double standards, dude. Yeah, he's definitely Speedy Joe. He's slow as a turtle, except when it's getting away from the legacy media, even when they're going to ask him softballs. Very, very funny. Anyway, at peak, we had over 3,500 people watching live here. Considerably more action than the White House stream got. They had 500,000 people viewed that, period, both live and after the fact. It's unlisted, though. I don't know why. It will probably disappear at some point. So I'll be checking into that. They'll probably edit it to hell, remove the front and the back of it because it was, literally half of the video feed. Web soak. Look, if we just pass that bill, circles will not be round. How? Come on, man. Nah, it's about how he sounds. Again, second he goes off script. That's why they tell him not to take questions. Paul Conley, I feel like Joe Biden is Stewart from Mad TV. Look at what I can do. Long lost father. Yeah, Stewart, that was funny. Mad TV was great. Look up Sasso when he was doing Kenny Rogers. All of those are excellent. Seeing Sights, was Biden asked about inflation? He wasn't asked anything other than, the question that I literally forgot because who gives a shit? He didn't even answer, so. Nobody cares. What he says is irrelevant. The relevance is our responses to it. The satire of Biden at this point is more relevant than what the fucking so-called president has to say. It's definitely fodder for, you could make a radio show literally just responding to Psaki, Biden, Kamala, Blinken, and a few others, if you really wanted to. If you wanted to work out their arcane scheduling and try to fit your entire life around it, maybe. Yeah, Sasso also did Elvis. He was great as Elvis, but he was best as Kenny Rogers. Sasso is right up there with Artie Lang, who also got his start on Mad TV in part as one of the greatest comedic minds of modern time. Anyway, I'm going to go off here because I'm going to play Fallout 4 or something. Whenever I see a ghoul, I'm reminded of Joe Biden. So then, I hesitate for a moment because I'm like, well, come on, man. He might have some ice cream for me or some shit. The Bloody Talker. I am an atheist who believes it is a unique human at conception. I don't believe in using the death to punish an individual for the mistakes, crimes of others. I am willing to compromise, though. Yeah, there are atheists that are pro-life, and then there are people like me that are more spiritual, but we're pro-choice. That's all good. Some people are purists and authoritarians when it comes to their opinions, and others they have a sensible debate over them. That's about all.